taxes. You have to have both for this to work. They don't have both, it's not going to happen. So therefore, in this book, I encourage you all to read it, Return to Prosperity. That's what you have to do. You have to reduce your taxes. You have to reduce your spending. That's how we can get out of this mess. Interest rates are at historical lows, going up. The global economy is in a massive recession. Massive recession. Have any of you heard of the Baltic Dry Index or the Harpex Index? No. The news media doesn't talk about it, but they're very telling leading indicators. The Baltic Dry Index talks about commodity shipments going from one country to another country along the major shipping lines. So from Australia to China, for example, it measures copper, coal, iron, things of that nature. The Harpex Index is a measure that measures all basically finished goods going from one country to another, like TVs coming from China going to Best Buy. Both of those indexes are down 96% over the last 2 years. Is the global economy in productivity range? No. We're falling apart. And when we're falling apart, government revenues are going to come down. Their solution is raise taxes, when the real solution is you lower taxes. So how can we do this? What can we do? Number one, you have to allocate accordingly. Stock market is coming down. Bond market is coming down as interest rates go up. Stock market is coming down as revenues decrease. Real estate will come down as interest rates continue to rise, because it's going to be less affordable for people to buy homes. And as people get laid off from their jobs and they start walking away from their homes, banks are going to be inundated with massive amounts of inventory. Real estate market still isn't over. Are there any options? Yes. Precious metals. Gold and silver have been going up on average 30% a year like clockwork. Like clockwork for the past 8 years, since 2002. Could you imagine? Gold is up 396% during that 8-year span, so is silver. What has the stock market done? Absolutely nothing. Will gold go up forever? No. Nothing goes up forever. Nothing goes down forever. But when you're looking at an economic time like we're in right now, you have to act accordingly. And I would say put 50% of all of your investable assets into precious metals to act as a one-to-one hedge against any of your paper assets or real estate that you might have. That will give you peace of mind. It will allow you to sleep well at night knowing I've done everything I can possibly do to hedge against these trend lines that I can't change. But what can you do? You can act accordingly. Who here would be sad with a 20 to 30% return year after year after year after year? No, nobody would be. But that's exactly what it's been doing while the stock market has been floundering. So this is what we have to do. We have to look at our tangible to paper asset ratio and act accordingly. Precious metals are the best tangible asset to get into because they're liquid on the back end. It's the best way to protect everything you've worked your entire life to accumulate. So that's number one. Number two, you need to be politically active. We need to repeal this dumb Obama healthcare bill. There's so much stuff in there. There's so much bad legislation in there. Just in a nutshell, there's legislation in there that starting in January of 2012, anything that you buy for potential resale, you have to give that person that you bought it from a 1099. You have to collect their social security number. You have to get their name and address. Even if you're buying potatoes and carrots from a guy at the farmer's market, because you're a restaurant owner and you're going to use those, you have to get a 1099, you have to get social security number from that guy. This is going to devastate the economy. That's bad legislation. So we need to be active. We need to make our voice heard. We have to tell Congress enough of this spending, enough of these bad bills. Do something that will stimulate the economy, not contract it. We need to invest accordingly. We need to invest in precious metals. Look, my clients are up anywhere from 200 to 300 to 400% over the last 8 years. That is a phenomenal return. Now, gold, I think, will peak out at about $5,000, probably 3, 5, 8 years from now. And at that point, we lock in all our profits. We go back into the stock market. We go back into the bond market because these things are cyclical. Just be in the right place at the right time. Let the trend be your friend right now. That's how you can reduce your risk and maximize your return. Thirdly, and this actually is first, you just need to pray. You need to ask God for wisdom. You need to ask God, how do you navigate this minefield of becoming? What can you do? Let His ultimate wisdom be your guide. Not man's wisdom, let His wisdom. And you know what? When you pray and you are faithful and obedient and you're an extravagant giver, He will give you the answers to be able to succeed in life. And then all of this other stuff will follow. You will invest accordingly. You will be able to vote. People will wake up. People will actually, you will get good people in office to understand the times and know what to do. And that's all I want. That's what I want for all of you. And I know I ran out of time. Wanted to talk to you about the Attorney General that I met with in Washington, D.C. Attorney General of the state of Virginia. He was very optimistic that the Obama health care plan was going to be repealed because of the non-severability clause in that. He said it's an act of divine intervention. It's either all unconstitutional or all constitutional. Well, they're fighting, the state of Virginia is fighting on about 9 constitutional issues. If the Supreme Court finds just one of them unconstitutional, the whole thing goes away as if it never existed. This is exciting. And I venture to guess this goes to the Supreme Court in probably the summer of 2012. That's something that we can pray for. You know, they are filling up the judge with activist judges. This isn't going to be a walk in the park. However, it is possible. Now, I was talking to Steve Forbes actually in March as well. And what was his biggest concern? It wasn't the stock market. It wasn't the bond market. It was the dollar. It was our debt. He said, there is no way that we can get out of this. And he said, the Federal Reserve ought to be basically abolished. It wasn't his exact words, but that's a paraphrase. They're just printing money, and they're printing money without discretion. This is very bad. And this is from a mainstream media guy, Steve Forbes. Says that the Fed, I mean, this isn't some crazy maverick, renegade, weird kook that says, oh, we got to get rid of the Federal Reserve. No, this is Steve Forbes. Now you've got Steve Forbes, you've got Dr. Davis, you've got myself, you've got John. This is gaining momentum. The Fed is out of control. They are selling us down the river, and this is not good. And so you know what? When you've got the more forward thinkers now starting to line up with a lot of the mainstream thinkers, this is exciting to me. That's where there's hope. But in the meantime, and that's where I know that things can change down the road. Things will change down the road if we're active and we make our voice heard and we keep pestering our politicians and we act accordingly. See, you can do all this stuff, but if you don't take care of your own finances, if you don't allocate accordingly, you're not going to have anything on the rebound. That's why it's important to ride out these trends and take care of your portfolios and take care of business at home. And you know, that's what I want to leave you with. And I hope that all of the gloom and doom, that you're not left with that. It is bad, there's no doubt. The economic storm clouds are horrible, there's no doubt. But there are things that we can do, and that's what I want to leave you with. And so thank you for your time.
Dr. Kirk Elliott, fabulous. I have the opportunity to speak with him